So we have Coach Ruben Vargas, and
Yes.
you're over at Proving Ground MMA. That's in Surprise, Arizona. So really excited to have you on the show and get to know you and the school a little bit. How did you get into jiu-jitsu? I know that's going back in time, but it's always nice to hear people's stories. So go ahead.
I wrestled in high school, and then I was helping out, high school coaching after I had graduated high school, and was watching kids compete and stuff. And I was in my early 20s, and I figured I wanted to go back out there and test myself again. So I thought, I heard of the thing jujitsu, and I looked for a jujitsu gym, and that's how I got started. Walked into a place. My wife actually ran into my old coach at a grocery store. He said, "Hey, we're about to start class," and
Mm-hmm.
she called me up. I grabbed some clothes and went down there and tried it out. Yeah.
Amazing. So how did you know? So when did you decide, like, okay, like I love this and I want to do this like as a living, like be an instructor, open a school. Like when did that all start for you?
Being an instructor and opening my own school, oh man, I didn't know. Well, as far as being an instructor, I was with my first coach for uh, just over 5 years, and I was coaching over there. He just, one day asked me to cover. So I ended up covering his class, ended up loving it. They said I did a great job. So, they put me on the schedule regularly, did it
Mm-hmm.
for a long time. And then there was just a point where, it was a school that two coaches owned together and they were splitting.
Yeah.
And I just followed one, you know what I mean? I followed actually the jujitsu guy, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I just stuck with that. And then all of a sudden, um, I felt and got my coach's blessing that I could go off and possibly do this on my own and make a living on my own. And I started doing that, bouncing around, doing a lot of private lessons and coaching everywhere. But it's been about 7 years that I've been completely on my own without um, any other coaches or anything like that. Before this, I did have a place for about another, 6 years before that
Mm-hmm.
with another coach. But now I've been 7 years by myself.
Okay, so you opened the school 7 years ago.
Yeah, this school, but yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Awesome. And so would you say teaching comes naturally for you? Did it
I
always?
guess it did. I don't know. It did. I guess it was just my passion. It was just something I
Mm.
really enjoyed and just started showing people and kind of repeating what my coach was saying and showing
Yeah.
the same moves, obviously, that my coach was showing me. And
Yeah.
it just, I, I, my first coach, he would beat me up, but he would, treat me like a son too. And he did a lot for me. And I started realizing that I'm doing a lot for other people.
Mm-hmm.
And once I seen my students doing something out there on the mat that I taught them, it was the
Yeah.
most rewarding thing. I just fell in love. I was like, that's it.
Yeah.
I'm hooked. I knew I was going to teach, for the rest
Yeah.
of my life. Yeah,
So it was about giving back that motivated you.
definitely. I didn't know, and it took me years to figure that out.
Right.
I was just doing it. You know what I mean? I was
Right.
just doing it.
Yeah.
I was picking up kids, picking up, driving them all
Mm-hmm.
across
Oh,
town to go to
wow.
practice. Yes, I used to have a truck.
Wow.
I'd pick up five, six students, drive them to practice, bring them back home. And,
Look at
I was just
that.
having this conversation recently that I still do that to this day. If I have somebody who's been with me a couple of years and they need a ride, give me a call.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, if I can, I'll do it. You know?
Love
Yeah.
that. So have you competed before?
Oh, yeah. I competed
Okay.
like my old coach made me compete like when I was 3 months into jujitsu, 4 months into jujitsu.
Really? And
Yeah,
how did
not
that go?
not made me, but told me I should. It went
Yeah.
pretty well. It went better than I
Really?
thought. Yeah, because I had a wrestling background.
Uh-huh. Oh,
So
okay. So that's cheating, but
yeah, yeah. I had a wrestling background, so um, I kind of knew grappling, period, and then I
Mm-hmm.
knew submissions, and then just trying to stay safe out of submissions.
Yeah.
Um, and the first one went pretty good. I won my first two matches, lost my last match in the finals. Um, but I remember the first guy I went against, I just double legged him, and it was so easy, and I got the points, and I was like so worked up and so
Yeah.
nervous, you know what I mean, that I held him. I was
Yeah.
like, whoa, that was kind of like not that bad, it wasn't. I
Yeah.
worked, I built it up in my mind more than what it was.
Yeah.
And after that first match, that first double leg, and after that, it kind of felt better. It was just like it was all gone. It was okay. Second match
Yeah.
was way better. Third match was way better, even if I lost. You know.
So then after that you were hooked and you're like, I love this. I'm going to keep doing this. Or like, did you still
Definitely.
compete after that? Like,
Yeah, I
okay.
competed. So first time I competed, I started jiu-jitsu 2005. I competed 2006 until like 2012 is when I was competing a lot.
Mm, okay.
Yeah, 2012, 2013. But back then there wasn't a lot of options, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There weren't that many options. I would have to travel out of it, out to Vegas to do a grappler's quest or something like
Yeah.
that. And I did a lot of no-gi in that time as well. You know,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Do you still compete?
I haven't in a few years. I even told last year my students I had to focus on the business. We've been in a new place for only 3 years, in a bigger
Okay.
location,
Yeah.
for 3 years. Um, so I was focused on the business, but this year I'll be hitting 3 tournaments.
Including the Arizona Jiu-Jitsu League.
Yes, I will be. Yes, you
Cool.
better believe it. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So, what are your thoughts on competition? Do you think it's for everyone?
It doesn't. It's not for everyone, but I mean I do encourage it. I have people who come in here and they're starting jujitsu at 50 years old and
Yeah.
50 something years old. And it's 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 not everything to them, but they put a lot of work in here and stuff like that. And I wish they would. Don't get me wrong, and I'll put it in the ear, but it may not be for everyone at that time of their life, or you know what I mean? Yeah.
Right.
And I mean, I got people who've had almost like I basically like lifetime injuries where, maybe that's not the smartest thing to put them out there.
What do you tell your students about competition? Do you like enforce it? Is it a must that they do it? Or is it
I
more
tell
like,
them
go
it's
ahead?
going to get them better. If you want to get better, compete. And if you want to, you just want to level up, do it. I really do push it. I even I try to get sponsorships for it. I try to help the students out the best I can. Um,
Yeah.
you know, and I really do try to push it. I mean kids, adults, everybody, and we do have a pretty big showing.
Yeah,
Um,
I was gonna say I've seen you like at several events with your competitors. So, and you
yeah,
guys
we're
always
quite a
do
bit.
well. Always do
Yeah,
really
thank you.
well. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be showing up. To the next one. I would say I don't know, with about uh 15 adults, maybe a little more, and we should
Nice.
have kids as well. And then in June, um, we'll have more in June. The late one, I think I forget what the date is in June, but we'll have
Uh
one there
yeah, it's in
in
June,
Arizona.
sometime in June.
Yeah, yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But
All
I
right.
do push it. I do believe it helps you level up. It even makes you just better. Even the road to the competition uh, helps you. Eating
Yeah.
proper, losing the weight. Just a little bit more focus. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So when you were competing before, like if you go back,
yeah.
and you remember those days, um, how did you handle your internal battles? Because we all know competition is a mental game. So
Well, I mean,
What is your advice for
so
that?
the last time I competed was only a couple years ago, two or I can't remember if it was 2000 or in 22 or 21, but um but before that even, I you know what, I guess I could go back to almost the first match, and I still had to learn through the years through my career that it's you build it up so much, and it's really not that big. You know what I mean? It's not that big. You gotta, and when you build it up more, you're not focused on the
Right.
match. You're not focused on what you should be doing if you're building it up too much. And sometimes you start to build it up too much because you got family there, you've got you can hear your coach, you got this and that, and you're not you're not focused if you build it up too much. So
Right.
um, just don't make it. No one wants to lose. Don't get me wrong. You know what I
Right.
mean? Yeah,
Yeah.
we're out there fighting. We're out here. They want to beat you. You want to beat them. And even the
Mhm.
path there, what are they doing to get ready? What are you doing to get ready? That's what you can really control.
Uh-huh.
And but when you're there and in the moment, just try to be in the moment. Try to be in the jujitsu match. Don't think about too much about mom and dad yelling, or wife yelling, or kids yelling. You know, try not to. You got to kind of block out everything and calm yourself down. I got 5 minutes out there. How many hours did I put into this? How much time? Whatever. It's only 5 minutes. It's only, you know what
Right.
I mean? Maybe at the
Right.
most 8 to 10 in some organizations, whatever, but it's going to be gone. Your family's going to love you. Everybody's going to love you. Everything's going to be, you know what I mean? But you are chasing that goal. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
You know,
Do you have any requirements for your students to compete for the first time?
requirements, I guess everyone's kind of different because um, you have people who come in here, really overweight and have never done anything like this before, or you have people who've wrestled, you know. So my requirements are kind of, I've honestly, I've told somebody like, I want you to lose weight before you compete. I want to see you hit, you know, a little bit. You know what I mean? Even, and then
Yeah.
let's start talking about one down the road or whatever. And we can make those goals. Let's.
Mhm.
Um, anyways, I'm, you know, everyone's different, like I said, and I my requirement is just to kind of have like a basic knowledge of, I guess, almost every position or every, you know what I mean? I want you to
Mhm.
know at least like one takedown. I want you to know how to defend one. I want you to know what the guard is. Want you to know how to defend it, back control, defend it, mount, defend it. That's it. Like some basics. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you at least got that, I'm okay with putting you in there. You
But
know what
if
I
you're
mean?
3 months in like you were,
Yeah,
and
it
somebody comes
depends.
and they're like 3 months in, and
I've
they're
I've
like,
had
I'm gonna do this, what would
I
you say?
I do
Do
it. I tell them
it.
do it. I tell
Mhm.
them do it. Yeah, I said you should do it. And I say it depends on your attitude as well too, that I lose and I'm never going to do this again. You know what I mean? No,
Yeah.
this is your first one. And now you
Yeah.
should go in there with like you, you got nothing to lose. They've got
Yeah.
everything to lose. More than likely they've been doing it longer than you. More than likely they've got stripes on their belt.
Mhm.
So they've got everything to lose. Give them everything. And now if you're dipping your foot in that early, that's the way I talk about myself. If you're dipping your foot in that early, it just gets you ahead of the game. It does. Um,
Yeah.
there's people who wait 6 months, 8 months in, a year in to compete, or even longer. Well,
Mhm.
if you competed at 3 months and this other guy's competing at 6 months, if you compete at that 6 months too, you've already done it once. You know what to expect. You know what I mean? Go out there, go for it. Why
Yeah.
not? Yeah,
For
yeah.
sure. How do you mentally prepare your students for competition? Is there anything that you share with them?
Um, it's really the same thing that I was talking about, just be in the moment. You know what I mean? As far as, is that what you mean, is mental preparation, or you mean
Yeah,
physical
so you know,
preparation?
it's a mental game, obviously going out into competition. So do
Yes.
you is there anything that you say to them in training or like maybe on the side, like to mentally prepare them for that big day, especially if it's their first time?
Um, to mentally prepare them, it is that whole thing of being in the moment. You
Okay.
know what I mean? Because and try to contain your adrenaline rush. Everybody's going to have an adrenaline rush. It's their first time. You're going to have one. And um, to, try to contain your adrenaline, be in the moment, because it's going to happen in every academy where you put students out there and they're white belts and it looks like they've lost all technique. It looks like
Yeah.
everything's gone out the window. And then
Yeah.
they come back off the mat and they go, what just happened? Like they don't even know
Yeah.
what happened out there
They
on the
like
mat.
black out. Yeah.
Yes. And
Mm-hmm.
um you know that's what we're trying to prevent. We're
Yeah.
trying to uh show jujitsu and the art of jujitsu, and not just
Right.
looking all wild. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so that's what I try to tell them, that and I also tell them, if they can, before they go do one, even if it's 3 months, you're 3 months in, whatever, go watch one, go to a tournament and watch one, and you can see
That's
that
good. Yeah.
you can analyze, look at your division and see how some guys are going crazy, some guys are using technique, um, and you can see who's kind of more in the moment and focused on what they're doing. Some guys have too
That's
much
really good
emotion.
advice because especially somebody that's new, that's never competed before, like hears the hype about competition but doesn't know like really what it is until they're there. But like if they
Yes,
go there and
yes.
they analyze and they see what happens and they feel the energy, it's like now it's like they know what to expect. So
Yes.
I really like that.
Oh,
That's good advice.
yeah, thank you.
Um, do you offer any competition classes?
Yes, I do. I Right now, I mean, I have one on the weekday, one on the weekend, but we're looking at changing our whole schedule, and we're gonna end up having two on the weekday, one on the weekend. Really, on the weekend, it's like on Sundays. We have a huge open mat, and I've got at least three schools that come out every weekend.
Cool.
And a slow day is 20 people, a busy day is 50 people.
Wow.
And I mean, that timer
Nice.
is just going with long rounds. And that's
Yeah.
one of the days where I'm pushing my students that they should be going nonstop. They should be,
Yeah.
and going against everyone, mixing it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Oh, let me just hold on one second. Okay, here we go.
You
My
okay?
questions disappeared. Okay. Um, so as you know, we follow the IBJJF rules. Do you
Yes.
talk to your students regarding the rules at all?
Yes. All the rules. Yeah. About, all the different organizations. Yeah. I definitely go over, and I try to tell them, um, again, you're going to have the student who goes out there, white belt, does something wrong, gets disqualified or loses by points, and um, says, "Well, I didn't know this rule, or I didn't see this, or I didn't
Yeah.
say that," and I can tell you as much as I can, but I can't. You know, I want you to go out there, and I want you to research the rules as well. I try to
Mm-hmm.
give you the most basic rules,
Yeah.
um, for every organization, but um, definitely I go over the rules, and we'll even, during our some of our classes, when we make the students roll, we'll keep track of points, and
Mm-hmm.
kind of try to implement the rules to whatever competition we have coming up.
Same for the kids, or how do you teach the kids about the rules?
Kids, same thing,
Same?
same exact thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My coaches are really good with the kids class, and they push them, um, you know, pretty solid for the
Mm-hmm.
competitions. And you know, the kids know. You ask them a question and they're all answering at once. You know, how long
Yeah.
do you hold position? 3 seconds. How, you know, and
Yeah.
yeah, you know, they know all this stuff. No guillotine, standing guillotine, all that stuff. You know,
Yeah.
yeah.
How do you guide your students regarding weight classes and cutting weight?
Well, once again, everyone's different. If
Mm-hmm.
you're a big guy and you weigh 250 pounds, it's nothing for you to lose 10 pounds. If you're 130 pounds and thin, it's going to be hard for you to lose 10 pounds. Um,
Mm-hmm.
let's look at a weight class, depending on how far your matches are, how far the tournament's out. Um, let's see what weight we need to lose, you know, if at all. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I've had some students who, like some of my students that are black belts now, but when they were a blue belt or a purple, they decide, you know what, I'm gonna go down a weight class. And I say, I don't think that's a good idea. And
Yeah.
they, no, I think I can do it. I don't think so. And they're like, well, it's only this far away. You know, I do this one easy, but the next one's only this far away. And
Yeah.
I weighed in light the last time. And then all of a sudden you see them dying. By the time the competition's coming around, they just look depleted. They look
Right.
horrible. And sometimes that's I told you so. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I try to find that you know that area. There's just everyone's different, and if you are close to the next weight class and you know uh, start eating better. That's what the comp is for, right? And like even the road
Right.
to competition makes you better. So start
Right.
eating better, start drinking better, start doing everything better. You might just hit the next weight class if you're close to it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but as far as something like cutting heavyweight or anything like that, like cutting a large amount of like
Yeah.
water weight or anything like that, um, I leave that up to my MMA fighters. You know what I mean? Not for the jujitsu guys. Yeah,
Right.
that's for the MMA guys. Yeah.
Right. What advice would you give to someone that's about to compete for the first time?
Um, it was. Did you ask me this one or no? It was
No,
be in the
it is
moment.
sort of similar,
Is it?
but is there
It
anything else,
no,
anything else you would like to add?
no. I'm sorry.
Okay. Okay.
Did I get
So,
you?
so what did we say? It was
It was
be in the
anything.
moment,
Yes, just being
be in
in
the
the
moment.
moment and contain
Mm-hmm.
um uh you know, contain yourself, your adrenaline rush.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When I
Right.
said that there could be two white belts that go out there, they get off the mat, they don't know what just happened out there. And
Yeah.
it's just relax and go watch one if you can before, right? Go watch
Yeah.
one if you can. And if you're gonna compete for the first time, you know, just like I say, that's the best way I can say it is is be there. Don't be in your head. Don't be just you know jujitsu by this time. React, and try to listen to your coach, but you know, contain that adrenaline rush. And everyone's adrenaline rush is different. Some is really big, someone's really small. Try to contain it, and once you get out there, use that adrenaline rush towards offense and defense. Don't use that adrenaline rush where you're just like, oh, I'm gonna beat you, I'm gonna beat you, I'm gonna beat you, and then it just there becomes that wild fight, right?
Yeah.
Um, it's you know, contain it the best you can, use it for high offense, high defense, and then halfway through the match, it all goes away. You know, you win your first one, second one's way easier, right?
Right.
You know,
Right.
yeah,
So we've seen you at the Arizona Jiu-Jitsu League events. Thank you
yes.
for supporting. How has your experience been? Hopefully, all good things, but you're free to say whatever. So go
Uh,
ahead.
I don't think I've ever had a problem. You know, I don't think I've ever really had a problem.
Okay.
You're gonna have some matches maybe that I hate. I would hate to be a referee. Let me tell you that because
I
and
mean,
I've
it's tough. Yeah.
yes, I look out there and I thought, you know, man, good luck. But
Yeah.
but um there's been, maybe some calls or whatever that I just didn't agree with.
Yeah.
But you go back, look at tape sometimes, and it looks like, dang, it's kind of borderline, or
Yeah.
whatever it may be. But I've also had some other people get really upset at some calls against us. You know what I mean, or
Mm.
against them for us or whatever. Um,
Yeah.
but overall, I have a good experience with it because our students are, I think, used to competing in IBJJF. So
Mm-hmm.
we kind of know what to expect with all of the competition. So, yeah.
Good. All right. And lastly, where can people find you on social media?
Uh, Proving Ground Mixed Martial Arts on Instagram and Facebook.
Awesome. All right. Thank you so much for your time. It was so nice getting to know you, getting to know more about the school, and we will see you out there again at the events.
All right. I appreciate it.
All
Thank you.
right. Awesome.